Hi, I'm Brian Van from SportBikeTrackGear.com.
And I'm David Gray from SportBikeTrackTime.com and Sportbike Tire Service.
Dave works for our Michelin tire supplier, okay? And what we're going to do today is we're going to share a bunch of knowledge that we've all acquired. Most specifically, they've worked really hard to get. I mean, it took a lot of effort, a lot of laps, a lot of riding to figure this stuff out. We're going to cover the Michelin sport bike tire family, pretty much top to bottom, all the tires that we feel are relevant to our customers. And to qualify this too, Dave's expert racer, right? Multiple championships, real fast guy, no doubt about it. Good motorcycle rider, been riding a long time. Me, I ride a lot, I crash a little bit, and I'm also an expert racer. So we're motorcycle riders, and we put the time in to really make sure that the information we give you is good and it's accurate. Road 2 tire, okay? Let's talk about its intended applications. It's a great street tire, no doubt about it.
It's a fantastic street tire. It's a 2CT dual compound tire. It's more oriented to just street use. It's great in the wet, the damp conditions. It's a good aggressive tire as well. You're going to get a little bit more of performance out of it, but at the same time, it's a longevity tire. It's
going to last
a long time. And it's not just for your big bikes, your BMWs and your big touring bikes. It's for your R6s and your GSX-R 600, 750s, Kawasaki's, whatever you want to use. That application is for the guy that's using on the street all the time, commuting back and forth to work, rain, snow, sleet, shine,
and needs mileage. Next up, Pilot Power. The applications for this tire are going to be street and racetrack duty, and we're going to talk about that, but let's go first with technology. How many compounds?
That's a single compound tire. The Pilot Power is a single compound tire.
Street pressure. What do you recommend?
We're going to recommend what the manufacturer recommends on the particular motorcycle, because that's going to be what's best suited for that particular motorcycle.
If you're going to go, without a passenger, you're going to do a spirited ride, and you want a little more performance on the street from your Pilot Power, don't be afraid to drop a couple of PSI out of it. It's going to enhance the performance a little bit.
It is.
This tire is not only at home on the street, but you can do track days on this.
Yeah, it's a street tire primarily. However, it gives you a good entry into the novice day. If you're a guy that wants to go and experience what the track is and what it's all about, this is a tire that you can have for your track day, your street bike, and experience the track. Explore that option and the opportunity to go to the track that gets you the entry level into our novice group.
The only thing you're going to change, you can take the same bike, same tire, go right to the racetrack on this in the novice group, maybe even some entry level intermediate stuff.
Potentially.
Tire pressure. When the tires are cold, you're going to want to start, we would suggest, based on the riding that we've done, right, the research we've done, we would suggest 31 PSI in the front, cold, and 30 PSI in the rear. It's going to be some good performance.
Absolutely. And when we say cold, what we mean is first thing in the morning, after a long lunch, after the tires and the rims, which is the important part of it, an opportunity to cool down to the actual outside temperature.
Next up, Pilot Power 2CT. We're amping the performance up now. We're moving through the chain. Dave, tell me a little bit about the technology in this one.
Well, the difference between the Pilot Power and the Pilot Power 2CT, Brian, is you've got a 2CT technology. This is where we start with a dual compound tire. We've got a medium compound in the middle, which is a Pilot Power, all the original, and then we've also got a softer outside, which is a different compound, so it's got dual compounds. It gets us into a much more performance-oriented tire. We're a little more aggressive street rider.
More grip when you got this thing leaned over.
Absolutely.
Period. More side grip with this tire, no doubt about it.
And it inspires confidence when you've got that side grip and you're leaning over more and you're going through the corners harder in the canyons. It's a great entry-level canyon tire for sure.
This tire is going to be at home on the street for an aggressive sport bike guy or girl. And it's also going to be at home with a motorcycle that goes from the street to the track. Okay. With SportBike Track Time and the Pilot Power 2CT, what riders would you see using this tire? Would you recommend it for?
Well, this one here, this is going to be your novice guy that's been to the track a couple of times from the beginning of the novice group, and the guy that's actually exploring the intermediate, the faster riding, gives you an opportunity to do the both of them. And the best part about like these Pilot Powers and the Pilot Power 2CT is that It's a one tire for both.
Street pressures, pretty much follow the recommendations that are on the swing arm the manufacturer gives for the bike. If you want to, once again, do a spirited ride, don't be afraid if you're riding solo to take a couple of PSI out to enhance the performance. Now, on the track, it's all different. 31 PSI cold front, 30 PSI cold rear.
And that allows the tire to heat up a little bit quicker and have a little bit more grip, more performance for you.
Which you want on the track, because remember, track, you're using the shoulders.
Yeah.
Street, you're going to use primarily the center.
And again, it's very important that when you get done with the racetrack, that you get back to the street, you want to put those tire pressures back up to this manufacturer's specified recommendations.
Otherwise, you're going to burn your tires up.
You're going to get chopping and feathering, and you're going to wear them out prematurely.
Continuing into the range, once again, way more performance. Just like from the Pilot Power to the 2CT, now from the 2CT to the Power Pure, we're amping up the performance here another notch.
We are, Ryan.
Let's talk about this one.
What the Power Pure does for us is it gives us the 2CT technology. The biggest addition to this tire, it's a 2-year-old tire, it's the second year that's going to be out, is that it takes a little over 2 pounds out of the tire, opposed to the Pilot Power and the Pilot Power 2CTs. What that does for you, it allows the bike to turn in quicker and accelerate quicker.
It's like buying a set of lightweight wheels for your bike. You know, a lot of guys will buy the wave rotors, you buy, you know, some high performance lightweight wheels to get that added performance benefit. You can enjoy a certain level of that with the Power Pure and not have to spend anywhere near what you'd spend for, you know, a set of high performance wheels.
And plus, if you're already buying a set of tires, you get a 2-for-1 thing.
This tire is going to be at home, on the street, or the racetrack. For the street, we're going to recommend this for probably the most hardcore of street bike guys.
Very aggressive.
Riding it hard.
On the street, yeah. And it's going to be primarily, it's going to be a more of a track day oriented guy that's going to go to the track, that's going to spend a little bit of time on the road. And the benefit to that is that the tread pattern on this tire, it allows you to actually have good grip in wet and damp conditions as well.
Which is nice.
Which is very nice.
And it rains, unfortunately, sometimes at the track days. We've all been there. It happens. And it's nice when you have a tire that functions well in the wet. You can go out and still have a good time, still go out and ride. And truth be told, in the rain, you can learn more about yourself and your motorcycle than you can in the dry.
You can. This is one of those tires as well that the tire pressures are just as important as anything else. On the street, we're obviously recommending manufacturer specifications that are on the swing arm, but on the track, you're going to want to be about 32 suggested in the front, 30 in the rear. And while we're amping it up a little bit in the front, tire pressure wise, because it's a lighter tire, it dissipates the heat more, which cools it down quicker. So we need to get more air in there to get more temperature in that tire. And this tire here, opposed to a Pilot Power, it's going to heat up a little bit quicker than one of those tires are. A couple of laps opposed to a few laps, which is going to get you a little bit more optimum track time.
You don't have to spend quite as much time bringing this tire up to temp. The carcass is made to, you know, it's a lightweight tire, so the carcass flex is pretty easy.
Very easy. And this tire is going to be designed for an intermediate guy, the full range of that, and maybe even an entry-level advanced guy, the guy that's doing a lot of intermediate days that wants to step up and try a couple advanced days. This is going to be one of those tires that's going to work good for that guy.
So this tire primarily, okay, high performance street. This is for the guy that's going out there. We don't advocate this in any way, shape, or form, okay? I'm going to qualify this. Looking to drag me on the street. You know, we know that there's plenty of people that do it, you know.
It's your canyon guy.
Yeah, your canyon guy, your Deals Gap guy, folks like that. Or for someone who's going to use their bike just a little bit on the street, right? A little bit on the street, and look to do some track days with it. With a pretty spirited, intermediate, you know, low advanced, intermediate pace on the Power Pure. It's a good tire. Last up is going to be the Power One commercial tire. The Power One's available in 2 grades, the commercial that we offer here, and then the competition. The competition tires are literally meant for just that, competition. And one of the things that I think a lot of people misunderstand is if you're going to do track days and say you're going to be an advanced rider, that you have to have the competition tire to be out there doing a track day. And what I'm going to tell you is this, I'm actually going to talk about how slow I can really be. Dave was down at Barber, I was down at Barber, I had my R6 and I had my 16.5 Michelin slicks on there, and I mean those are phenomenal, those tires, way more grip than I could ever use, and he's out there testing Power One commercials. he still managed to pass me, even though I had arguably far more tire than he did. I mean, granted, we're not out there, riding 100%, but we're out there riding a very spirited pace at Barber, no doubt about it. Quick lap times. I can't remember exactly where. I'd want to say somewhere in the 36-ish, 7. Sound about right?
All right.
So if you know Barber, I mean, it's pretty quick.
Pretty respectable, especially on some
exactly
not competition tires.
Not competition tires. So my point there is, I spent a lot more on the tires than Dave had in the Power One commercials, and yet he was still able to get more out of those tires than I was getting out of my way spendy 16.5s. We see so many people that are buying too much tire.
Tire that they don't need for what their application is.
And they wear out really fast.
And they're much, much more expensive.
Much more expensive, and you cash them out way too fast, which is where the real expense comes in, because you don't get enough days out of it. You get a good set of competition tires at a spirited, quick pace, you're lucky to get a weekend.
Well, also, Brian, the best part about the commercial tire is, in my opinion, is that, it's a great track day tire. It's a good advanced day track day tire. It's a good intermediate tire. But you don't have to have tire warmers to run this tire. It's designed to last for multiple heat cycles, rather than the race competition tires are only really designed for 2 or 3 heat cycles, where this is good for 10 plus.
Which is sweet.
Which is sweet, and it also heats up very fast. Again, just like the Piers, this gets 1.5, 2 laps to warm the tire up. Then you're right at it with maximum performance on that tire with maximum heat cycles.
You can still ride this on the street if you choose to. Okay, we would recommend very little street riding.
That's for the guy that does a lot more track days than street riding, but still wants to go to the track, or go to the street rather.
Exactly. If you were going to do some hardcore street stuff, say some you're a fast canyon guy.
Beals, Gap, or something like that.
And you go there all the time, and you know it, and you like to try and find your limit and the bike's limit a little bit, this tire can be really good for you there too.
It's perfect because it heats up quick, and you got lots of grip out of a tire that'll last a long time.
For anyone that thinks this is just a street tire, I would really disagree with that statement. This is not, in my mind, a street tire. This is a racetrack tire.
This is a racetrack track day tire for a much more advanced track day rider.
You look right here, okay? That is basically on the side. When you've got this thing heeled over, you're riding on a slick when it's leaned over, okay? The rain siping that's cut in here on the edges, there's very, very little, okay? This isn't the kind of tire that, I would say is a street tire where you're going to be comfortable if it gets a little bit wet or damp out. This is not going to perform very well in wet conditions, especially not on the street.
Especially not on the street, you're right.
And this tire, like I said, many misunderstand you need competition tires for the racetrack. The commercials, we think, in our opinion, are about one of the best options going right now. Several weekends out of them for most, right? Great performance, quick warm-up, you don't have to use warmers. All right, Dave, I don't think we really need to talk about street pressure for this tire. I think this is the wrong tire for someone to buy and ride around on the street. Okay, we've pretty much covered that. The track pressure for this thing, cold, what do you recommend?
Cold tire pressures, of course. 31 in the front, 28 in the rear.
Let's kind of tie this up. Now, our goal with this is to really share the information that we've collected by actually using these tires. We didn't read a manual, we didn't talk to a rep, even though you are kind of our tire rep. Right, but we actually rode the motorcycles, we rode the tires, and our goal is to help you pick the right tire for your application so you get the most out of your investment in those tires, okay? Let's say that you're primarily a street rider, you got an R1 or a Gixxer or whatever your bike might be, right? And you're going to do a lot of miles, you're going to ride whether it rains or it shines, okay? And a lot of folks with a sport bike have a mindset that I have to have something like a Hypersport tire, like that Power Pure or that 2CT. That's probably not the right tire for the guy that I just described. That Road 2 is a home run tire for that guy or girl that I just described, because you're going to get the mileage, you're going to get the wet weather performance, and if you do go out and decide to hit some corners, it's going to perform good, right?
Absolutely.
Not like the high performance models, but it's going to perform good. But the important part is you're going to get a ton of miles out of those. Tire pressures, we're going to bang on that one more time. So key. that you check your tire pressure.
It's the most important part of making a tire last long and get the performance out of it.
Performance. It's easy to do. It only takes a minute. For anybody who's a serious rider, just make it part of your ritual. Like I said, go get a bike tire pump, okay? That way you don't have to go up to the gas station or invest in an air compressor. Just a quick pump with a bicycle pump, fill the tire back up, because it's only going to be a couple of PSI. It's never, oh my, I just found out my front tire is 10 pounds low. If your front tire is 10 pounds low, you got a nail in it.
Probably.
Right? You know, so and it's probably good that we touched on that. If you ever see a huge swing in your tire pressure, front or rear, we want you to take a look at it for debris.
Right, and like you said, Brian, 1 or 2 PSI, even being low from sitting out in the cold or sitting for a week or so, makes a huge difference. Make that tire wear out, maybe not twice as fast, but much faster than it normally would if you just maintained it. Plus, performance-wise, you know, to utilize the performance of the tire's design, you really need to have the tire pressure where it should be.
It's key. I think we've done a good job here. I think we've offered up a lot of information. As always, if you guys or girls have any further questions, we're available by telephone, 888-784-4327, or by email. You can send that right to orders@sportbiketrackgear.com. I'm Brian Van.
And I'm David Gray.
Thanks for watching.